Hey everybody, John from Movie Burners here. I'm back with another Movie Burner review, and today I'm going to be discussing Murder on the Orient Express. Of course, the latest adaptation of the well-trodden Agatha Christie novel. This time it's Mr. Kenneth Branagh and his take on the story. And it was a film early on in its theatrical release which I was anticipating going to see. I've got a bit of a soft spot for the murder mystery niche genre. Certainly a big fan of the likes of Columbo and so on for many a year, and I have to say it's not perfect by any means, but certainly did enjoy it for the vast majority of its running time. The film itself opens in the historic city of Jerusalem with the eminent detective Hercule Poirot already immersing himself in a case. A theft's been committed with multiple figures including a rabbi all in the frame for it, and this is really an early introduction to the Belgian sleuth, showcasing all his reasoning, his intellect and his skills perfectly, and he's able to solve the crime with very little difficulty at all. This opener incidentally is visually arresting, capturing the bustling nature of the city with some very nicely worked cinematography and beautiful period costumes. This trend continues through the quick jump to Istanbul and onto the opulent train setting itself. I've since discovered that introduction was a Michael Green addition that actually didn't occur in the Christie novel, but I have to say I enjoyed it. There's an early interaction between Mary Debnam, played by Daisy Ridley, and Poirot in Istanbul incidentally, before a convenient brush with an old acquaintance allows him passage on the ill-fated journey. The dodgy businessman Ratchet, played by Johnny Depp, seems to foresee his sticky end on the horizon when he asks Hercule to be his personal bodyguard for the duration of the journey. Whilst munching on some cakes over a little spot of tea, the request is of course politely refused. Admirably, he is not a man motivated by money or a delicious looking cake. He's a better man than me, clearly. Hercule is cutting a very relaxed figure at this point in the film, settling into his rather posh quarters, and it's easy to forget this is supposed to be a holiday for him when an avalanche spoils his chilled ambience, derailing and blocking the path of the train in the process and really leaving it perched precariously on a bridge. It seems Mr. Ratchet's concerns were justified too, because he meets his maker around this point too. The suspicious death of course kicks off the whodunit plot in earnest, and shortly after the gruesome discovery of Mr. Ratchet's body, which is shielded from the audience, we don't get to see any gore or anything, Poirot begins to individually interview each of the passengers on board, making it clear they're all suspects, as he tries to solve the mystery behind the seemingly welcome death of the sleek-it Cruz. He even believes he's cracked it a couple of times during some false eureka moments, if you'd like, giving chase to the would-be perpetrator and even being shot at, only to be thwarted and left befuddled each time by the confusing contradictory accounts from the dozen or so passengers. I've mentioned before on podcasts we've done that I am not hugely familiar with the original Agatha Christie novel. I've not read it, or indeed any of her work in general. It seems I'm very much in the minority with that one. Nor have I watched the original 1974 film or the myriad of different TV shows and adaptations on the story, and I think this probably proved to be a big factor in the enjoyment I got out of this film. I did go in unaware of the ending and without the burden of making comparisons between all the various different versions. Now, I touched upon the visuals in the introduction briefly, but this film in its entirety is incredibly beautiful to my eyes anyway. It was filmed for the most part inside a London studio on a recreated train carriage, with most of the scenic shots actually being shot in New Zealand and then through CG and green screen projected onto the background using some nifty technology. And whilst it wasn't totally convincing at all times, I have to say it was more than adequate for the most part and never took me out of the film or anything. Branagh returned to 65mm film for this release. He of course used it in Hamlet, and he really does manage to capture all the little nuanced, nervous glances on faces, and he also utilises every spare inch of space in the carriage well, intelligently shooting it through windows, and also mirrors to tell a story with the camera that perfectly adds to the often heavy dialogue in much of the scenes. I've enjoyed this method before, most notably in the corner flat scenes within Trainspotting 2. I love it, it's a great little technique. Now, for a few of my gripes, firstly, the film often moves away from the familiar train setting a little too often for my liking. I felt it detracted from and it destroyed the claustrophobic tension that should be quite unique to this story. Secondly, the decision to line the passengers up outside near the end was a perplexing one. And finally, my biggest gripe with this film was the way it handled the talented cast they managed to assemble. There was an array of great actors and actresses packed into one train carriage, and I was concerned about this prior to going to see it, and it's almost impossible really to do them all justice in slightly more than 2 hours, and that turned out to be the case. A lot of them were left pretty undeveloped. Indeed, barring really Depp, and he died early on, Michelle Pfeiffer and Branagh himself, the rest are criminally underused in this film. Daisy Ridley, William Dafoe, Josh Gadd, Derek Jacobi, Cruz and Judi Dench's characters were largely superfluous to the story. I'm maybe being slightly harsh on Gadd, Odom Jr and Ridley though, because they did display some flashes here and there, but the majority of that cast were fairly forgettable in the main, which was a letdown. I thought Branagh was excellent as Poirot. I really don't understand the criticism he had to endure for the accent, performance, or even the strange obsession with what was a fairly magnificent piece of facial hair. The three were fine. Admittedly, I'm not familiar with the novel interpretation, as I did say, but he was emotionally invested in the character and he was very happy to get stuck into the physical elements of the story, and he was fairly convincing as the logically brilliant Belgian detective. Pfeiffer was probably my standout performer though. There was palpable emotional turmoil within her quite complicated character, certainly towards the end where she really came to the fore. There's an expected twist at the end involving the manner of the murder, which I won't reveal because if you haven't seen the film or any of the other adaptations like me, then it would completely spoil the mystery, suspense and the story. Needless to say though, it explained the contradictions Poirot ran into throughout the film, and it tied up the story very nicely. It posed an interesting question thematically to the detective and the viewer alike about the nature of justice and whether two wrongs really do make a right. Ultimately, I did enjoy the film. It was a fairly slow-paced affair, annoyingly so at times, admittedly, but a film like this shouldn't be zipping along at 1,000,000 miles per hour. It certainly won't be for everyone, this one. Indeed, people that have read the novel or watched the 1974 films seem to be the ones disliking it the most. It certainly does demand patience, and it's often dialogue heavy, which will split opinion anyway. I'm a Tarantino fan personally, and I love dialogue heavy films. That's certainly one of his trademarks, and I also like a good mystery, so neither of these were an issue for me. I would recommend giving this a watch if the mystery genre is your thing, or if you aren't aware of the intricacies of a story. It's a decent enough film, very much a dime read that doesn't seem to come along often these days, and I'll be giving it a 3.5 out of 5. Remember guys, if you're enjoying the content we're putting out, then be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and iTunes, and give us a little follow on Facebook at Movie Burner Entertainment and on Twitter at Movie Burners. You can also catch up with all the latest reviews we're putting out at the Movie Burner blog on movieburnerentertainment.org. Until the next time, goodbye.